Hello, my name is Marla Hughes, and I am honored to be with you today to talk about chakras, shamanism, and how we can learn from the ancient indigenous tribes about their healing techniques and how they have given us knowledge of how to be able to use the chakras in order to make important decisions. And I wanted to share this with you because today I feel that our young people there's so many decisions to make and so much going on in this crazy world. And so much advice, some good, not so good, are given to them from their teachers, from not any of you, I'm sure, but their teachers and parents and friends. And this is a different way of making a decision and really looking inside. And so we'll get into that as we go along. So first of all, I would like to share the screen. The full screen. So first of all, today we're just going to talk about what is the chakra system. And you can even really think about the chakra system as, for example, your heart. You just think the heart, and it's about love and light. And so these are all, that's one of the chakras. So there are seven of these that really go up throughout the body. So it's not really mystical. What they do is mystical, but it's really about what is going on in the body, as you'll see as we go over each chakra. It's an energy system, spiritual power centers of the human body. So, once again, let's go over these quickly. On the far right is the red chakra, which is the root chakra. And this is, first of all, I do believe that aligning the chakras, which is really meditating on them and really feeling into where you are and if there's an imbalance. And when you can work with them, it really does make a difference on how you feel as you move throughout your day and helps you become more balanced, tuned in with your intuition, and confident in your actions. So, the root chakra is all about our physical body, feet on the ground, material needs, security. And this is your action center. I'm going to change that a little bit in the chakra journey as I talk about that, but this is what the root chakra represents. After that, the orange chakra is the abdomen or sacral chakra, and this determines your emotions and your feelings, and it's also where the microbiome lives. And we hear so much about microbiome these days, and we're realizing how important it is to your belly, your gut, to really eat well and to take care of your digestive system and or do things to enhance and nourish your digestive system. So that's where this lives. It represents creativity, sensuality, the fertility of the ideas, and it helps you develop when it's aligned a healthier self-image. And then the next, the yellow, and the colors do mean something. And I suggest that I think it would be wonderful if you turn this presentation into somewhat of a history lesson for students, because to be able to talk about the chakras, the energy systems, and bringing into indigenous tribes, knowing that today in Western, I'm getting off track here for a second, but knowing that in Western civilization that our healing, all the pharmaceuticals, all the anxiety and rising in depression, and something is just not working. And many are reaching back into these indigenous cultures and learning about their healing techniques and bringing them to our Western world. And it's so exciting. And so it's really important, I feel, that our students learn about these things. And of course, the Andean shamans, it's a great story, a great lesson, which I'll tell a little bit about that as we go along. So the third chakra, the yellow, is called the solar plexus. It's above the navel and right below the ribs. And here is where you'll experience more courage, more clarity. It's about ideas, belief systems, inner chatter, and how you can pick up on information and how you perceive it. It's the place where organization happens. So it is the center that indicates work success. Next, my favorite, of course, is the heart, about love, bonding, relationship, forgiveness, compassion. And all of these are on both sides. Does one have those things? Does one need to work on bringing that more into their lives to help create balance? The next, the blue chakra, is throat communication, or the throat. And that's all about communication, whether that's through shouting to the world or prayer or whatever it may be for you. But it's a very important chakra that we'll talk about. The next, the violet, dark violet, is the third eye. And this is where one taps more into intuition, where you just kind of feel like something isn't right, or you feel like you should make this decision in a certain way. That's your intuition talking. So, and this chakra helps you experience that with clarity. And the last is the crown, which is white, or really light violet, like you see here, but it's usually white, because the crown, which is at the top of your head, it's considered the entry point for human life force. Intuition influences really the major body systems, whether it's spiritual, physical, muscular, skeletal. It leads to a greater sense of attunement, and also in the development of transcendent ideas, which all students love to talk about transcendent ideas. I do too. Just so helpful in this life journey. So I am going to continue and talk a little bit about shamanism. What is shamanism? Shamanism is deeply aligned with nature. It is a way of being, believing that a life is about compassion and harmony with nature, and that will lead to healing. And it's about seeing divinity in all things. So today we are going to talk about this little bit of the history lesson of the Quiro Incan shamans in Peru. So at the highest altitudes in the Andes, there are indigenous Indians that are direct descendants of the ancient Incan people. And when they were invaded by the Spanish conquistadors in the 1500s, many of these indigenous Indians were sent into mining camps, but some were able to escape to what they call the villages in the clouds. And this is where they kept their traditions. They were able to participate in their healing, in their healing ceremonies, in their plant medicine. And since they were isolated for 500 years, their ancient wisdom is pure and unaffected by other cultures, teachings, and religions. Their wisdom has been passed verbally down from father and mother to son and daughter for hundreds of generations. And they've continued developing these advanced techniques in healing, divination, which is connecting with the higher power, and ceremony. They truly are known as the ancient wisdom keepers. So many believe that the Inca Quiro is nothing more than a myth. However, in the early 1990s, the people of the Quiro saw signs on the horizon which indicated that ancient prophecy had arrived, because they had been given from a higher source a prophecy that at some point they would need to come down and share their knowledge with the earth or with us. And they realized that it was time for the Kero shamans to finally wander down from the mountains with their rainbow colored clothes. A people who've been a myth for almost 500 years began to answer the call of their ancient prophecies and now share their 10,000-year-old healing tradition and medicine with the societies of the modern world. The prophecy spoke about a new age when large changes would start to happen on the planet. And as we all know, that's certainly happening right now. So I usually don't like to read slides, but the next two I am going to because I think they're so important. So this slide is from one of the shamans. We're in a time of great change. Not only the world changes, but the entire cosmos. We are entering the era of consciousness of love and peace, for which we encourage unconditional love for ourselves, to reconnect with our essence, the love for our mother, Pachamama, land that gives life. We revalue the laws that were left by our ancestors, love, money, wisdom, yache, and giving, Lanke, so we can live in balance, harmony, and avoid chaos in our body, mind, and our life. Chaos in our body, mind, and our life. We, our students, our children, our elders, there is a lot of chaos right now, and we need, I believe, their help. So this was the great prophecy. When there is a tear in the sky that causes the sun to shire and damage us. When the glaciers melt, when the climate changes and natural disasters come, and when the condor is close to dying out, shall we walk down and share our spiritual tradition and wisdom with the world. It is time for the people from the West to wake up from a deep sleep. A new age has been born, and the modern human of intellect and brain is now touched by the heat, heart, and soul of the Andes. The Terry Papacha called a time of transformation. Today, I'll keep that up so you can read that. And that could be tear or tear, actually. I think both work, but I like tear. Today, as we all know, despite major advances in science and technology, people are feeling more isolated and more disconnected than ever with the pandemic, the global environmental crisis. There's just chaos and confusion that did come to a head in around 2020. When the world shut down, many could feel that stirring, a calling from deep within, and I believe especially our young, this next generation who will take over the world. The breakdown of modern systems reveals a dire need for change. The universe called for healing of times of crisis, to reconnect to the wisdom of the ancestors, to listen once again to Mother Earth, to the spirits, to the intuition. It's a time for the light workers. I'm sure many of you are light workers because you are here right now today, so you all are light workers. But it's time for the light workers and the healers to raise the vibration of the planet and restore harmony. Society must reconnect with the roots and return to balance, the Pachamama, Mother Earth. These beautiful shamans have an opportunity, and they believe something that they have to do, a mission of ushering in the new age, which is called their prophecy once again, Terry Papacha, the time of transformation. As the world remembers the wisdom of our ancestors, we will restore union in the earth to expand our spirituality and our love. So let's talk a little bit about the Andean shamans In a way, they use the chakras really in a different order than from the root up to, and different times, different needs, you go to different chakras. But this is a way that I've learned in shamanism, a different way than one can think about a decision. So we're going to go through the chakras in a little bit of a different order, and I'm going to explain that and what the Andean shamanism. In Andean shamanism, there are ceremonial rites of passage, and one is called the seeding of the Aini Karpus, where 7 archetypes are blown into each of our chakras. And they feed and they grow, and the shamans actually do this during a fire ceremony. So let's talk about what is an archetype. Well, the great archetypes of the Andean tradition are organizing principles of the universe. They're the forces that we call in to create sacred space, and they are the energy beings that have been planted as seeds in each of your chakras. It's important that you remember you have received them when you do. So, one is trying to make a decision, going to college, breaking up with a girlfriend, going somewhere to help the refugees. Every day we have so many decisions. So this is all about starting with the heart, starting with the 4th chakra. The question is asked, is this coming from love? Is your heart full and well and full of energy when you think of doing whatever you're thinking about doing? Is it coming from love? The archetype here is the condor or the eagle, and it represents the great wings that hold the heart, that teaches us with the eye to make decisions with the eyes from the heart, seeing from a higher perspective, a place of the rising sun. It's a place of our becoming. The eagle's medicine, swiftness, strength, courage, wisdom, illumination of spirit, ability to see hidden spiritual truths, rising above the material to see the spiritual, to see the big picture. And the question is, does it serve the greater good, not only for yourself, but for the community, which shamanism loves to talk about? You can use humanity, community, whatever you might. So start with that decision making with your heart. The next chakra that the decision goes down to is the solar plexus, which is the 3rd chakra. And I love to talk about the solar plexus because this is almost like in the womb, where you take that idea that you now know it's coming from love, but now you're going to nurture it. You're going to sit with it. You're going to dream about it. You're going to pray about it. So it's all about nourishing, and nurturing. And I love the archetypes here that are blown in to this chakra, because one is the hummingbird. And the hummingbird is all about getting things done with joy. So also, is this decision, is it going to make you feel joyful inside, the sweetness of life? And the other archetype, which is so beautiful, is ancient wisdom. There's not a picture here for this, but of our sisters, our grandmothers, our fathers, ancient memories, the ones who have stepped out of time but slipped through the veils to help us remember ancient ways. Ask them, is this the direction I should be going? I just saw a typo in here. It should where intention takes root and grows, not rotting. So you started with the heart. Is it coming from love? And now it goes down to the belly. You're going to really think about it. You're going to nourish it. You're going to give it some time. You're going to pray about it. You're going to ask from your ancestors, and you're going to think about, does it bring me joy? The next, it goes to the throat chakra. Speaking out. Are you ready now to shout it to the world? I'm sure we've all been a place where you've said, well, I've told everybody, so now I have to do it. Well, it's very much like that, actually. But the throat and the belly are related because you feel the sweetness of it. You feel the energy of it. You feel like your ancestors are just, or your guides or whomever you want to call it, that they're just giving you the yes. So speaking out about it, now that you've nurtured it, and you could speak out about it in a prayer, in a meditation, just for yourself, or shout it out to the universe. In shamanism, we believe that the seed cannot blossom if it is not sent out in the universe. So the archetype here is a warrior called Huascar. Once again, this is in the Incan shamanism in the Andes. This archetype represents the Lord of life and the Lord of death. A warrior known as the keeper of the medicine. He helps us, this archetype, when it's blown into that chakra. Once again, this is a rite of passage that they do during a fire ceremony, but we can do it on our own as we go through a meditation or through this process. It helps us shout it to the world, and it harmonizes our relationship with our shadow. That's part of the Lord of life, Lord of death. Don't let others or our fears, our shadows, make us doubt. Be true to ourselves. So that is Huascar. Next, the idea goes to the sacral chakra. And the sacral is represented by the archetype, the jaguar. And this is where the work starts to be done. It is, this is the place in this chakra journey, shamanic chakra journey, where people get stuck because you really got to start doing something, thinking about it just in day-to-day life. So now you love it, you've nurtured it, you've told the world, now you got to start working on it. And this is where people really get stuck. So the jaguar is the one who knows the way across the rainbow bridge to the world of mystery, teaching us to stop beyond fear of violence and death. Jaguar is the life force, the master tracker. So this is where you really begin and you call upon this fire to be blown into this chakra, the jaguar, to really help one begin to get the job done. So then you go up to your third eye, and you can just kind of do this as you go along with an idea or step by step, however you want to do. This is just something for you to sink in and really give some thought to. So then it goes up to the third eye, intuition and clarity. And the third eye is represented by the Quetzalcoatl. And the Quetzal, that's the little bird on the left, is a beautiful jungle bird. And it's called the Lord of the Morning or the Lord of the Dawn. So that sounds like creativity and vision and clarity, right? It's a beautiful bird. And then the Coatl is a serpent reptile that brings stability, music, dance, drums. So this idea comes up to this vision, or let me put this differently. So this thing that you've been working on and you're going to do, now you have a vision. You have a clear vision. And you know, it may have changed a little bit when you were nurturing it and doing the other things, but now you have a clear vision of how it's going to help you, how it's going to help humanity, how it enables us to take our creativity and apply it to the bigger picture, apply it to the bigger picture in helping, in healing, in self love, in oneness. So now the idea goes to what I like to call boots on the ground, the root chakra. So everybody moves, it's the physical. This is where it happens. This is where you dance the dance. This isn't just kind of getting things together and organizing and doing a budget or whatever it might be. This is where the action happens. This is the one, the serpent, mother of waters, archetype of the healer, the one who dives deep inside of ourselves, walks in the beauty of the belly at the mother, the one who knows the way back to the garden. It's a primary life force, earthly force. This is where the work gets done. And then, not last but not least, is the crown, the entry point of human life force. The archetype for the crown, get my paper here so I don't miss anything. First of all, we dedicate the energy to the highest option possible. I love it when my shamanic teacher says this, because first I thought highest option, but he uses those words a lot. And I remember him saying once, if it's in your highest option, it must be in the world's highest option, which was a pretty profound thing to say after going through all these different ways of why you're making this decision. Godliness, divine, higher self, every thought, every action, everything you've done through this little chakra journey goes out into the universe. So the archetype for the crown chakra is the Pachacuti. Historically, the Inca king who was given the prophecy that the world was turning over, and that was the coming of the Spanish, so the conquistadors. He was the keeper of the possibilities, organizing principle of the upper world, which could be another history lesson, middle, upper, and lower world. Embodies the concept of circular time, stepping outside of linear time. Makes time stand still, brings order, heavenly order, coming into relationship with. Pachacuti allows us to recognize what can be changed and changing it before it is born. So, this is my presentation for today. The importance of our chakras and tuning into those. The importance of celebrating our indigenous cultures. And in 1990, that they've been called, and one reason they knew it was time was that they're very high in the Andes and the glaciers started to melt, the climate change. But of course, they knew the energy and they knew of the prophecy for them coming down now, which they are filtering into workshops. And you can find out more about. Matter of fact, I will leave some links about that too. But to bring this wisdom of Mother Earth, and then this way of decision making, and I love the idea of just the archetype, just blowing the fire into that chakra to make it the best that it can be. And what I mean by that, maybe at your heart, or maybe you get stuck at some point in the journey and you think you visualize that jaguar just blowing that fire into the chakra and giving you that energy. So I think this is a beautiful way to share share these kinds of thoughts with our older students who are on fire, who have so much to offer this world. I have a podcast. I've interviewed so many people who have had these profound near death experiences, and they talk about this new generation. They've been told and they've seen it of, of the young coming into the world that who are ready to do it differently. And I feel it. I know it to be true. So they're going to be, thirsting once again for this, I believe, for this kind of knowledge. And that's why all of you are here today. And so I want to thank you so much for listening. Reach out if you have any questions or anything. My podcast is interviewswithinnocence.com. You can find it. This isn't really the place to tell you about what I do. I mean, it's free and all of that. But I love this Andean shamanic chakra journey, and I hope you've enjoyed it too. Thank you so much. And please reach out to me, and all that information will be given to you. I don't know, however they do it when they give this presentation. Thank you.